if a child is injured playing sports in school? Here to cover some of the basic sport injury law is attorney Tom Sinas of Sinas Dramus Law Firm. And Tom, first and foremost, let's talk about the basic rules regarding the law of sports injuries out there right now.
Thanks, Derek. Well, of course, this is a subject that no parent wants to ever have to consider or talk about. And obviously, whether our kids can play sports is challenging enough. But this comes up from time to time, and it touches on some other topics we've talked about in the past. And this really falls under the law of negligence, but with a twist. So we've spoken in the past that the basic law of negligence is proving that the other person owed you a duty to exercise reasonable care and that that person did not exercise reasonable care. Well, that rule is different when it comes to what the law refers to as recreational activities. And the recreational activities rule includes things, of course, like sports. And the courts have said it this way: when people engage in recreational activities, they are subjecting themselves to certain risk inherent in the activity. And so the standard is not whether the other person acted reasonably, but whether the other person acted recklessly. And that's the key difference. You have to show that the other person acted recklessly. And what is reckless? Well, the law has defined reckless to mean a willingness or indifference to the injury of the co-participant in the sport. And you can see just from those words that it's a very high standard.
All right, Tom, let's talk about the legal rules. How do they relate to the rules of the sport overall?
Okay, so this is very interesting. So we have these concepts of recklessness, willing indifference. How does that relate to the actual rules of the game? Well, here's some language from a recent Court of Appeals case regarding a very serious soccer injury. And the court reminded it that another player violating the rules of the game does not, in and of itself, establish that the player was reckless. So just because a rule was broken does not mean recklessness, because the courts have said there are certain risks inherent with sporting activities. So in this particular case that just came out involving a soccer injury, one of the risks that the court acknowledged was the collision, a kind of collision that occurred here where someone was very seriously hurt. And the court said, you know, there are certain risks, as in the risk of colliding with another player, that is inherent in the game of soccer. And in this particular case, the court said, just because there was a horrible collision involving a horrible injury doesn't mean, and even if that collision had been a violation of the rule, doesn't necessarily mean that the other player acted recklessly.
Interesting to know. It just feels good to talk about sports. Let's be honest right now, where we've been the last 5 or 6 months. Hopefully it never comes to that, but it might. Where do people track it out if they need to get some serious help with this stuff, Tom?
Well, I hope that people are watching, having fun, and don't need to call about this. But if they do, they can find us online at www.sinusdramus.com. Shoot us an email at info@sinusdramus.com, or give us a call, West Michigan 616-301-3333.
Good stuff as always, Tom. We appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thanks, Derek.